It is the ML Sports Platter brought to you by Batavia Downs Gaming and Western OTB. Listen, golf tournament, events left and right, everything going on, the Belmont Stakes. And here he is, the busiest man in America. Ryan Hasenauer is back with us, the VP of Business Development, to preview the Belmont and talk about awesome events. If you're looking to go to Batavia Downs Gaming the next couple of weeks from anywhere throughout the state, he's going to tell you about it. Ryan, just another, normal week with all this going on, right?
Yeah, I got a little sun yesterday there at the golf tournament. Good times, but we're gearing up for the Belmont Stakes. I'm a little bit more excited about it than I think I was even like a week ago, knowing that Sovereignty, and obviously journalism are going to be, going against each other. Baeza is going to be in the mix, like we thought. And it's really interesting what's going to happen here with Rodriguez, finally off of his foot bruise and coming back. We got our Bourbon and Whiskey Festival. And like you said, no matter where you're listening from and watching this from around the state, we got great hotel deals. So if you can't come this Saturday night, and I think the hotels are sold out anyway, here we, of course, will shuttle you from a different hotel on a Saturday night over to Batavia Downs. But, a lot of great deals during the week, a lot of great other specials and events going on. So be sure to follow us on our socials, and you'll figure out what's going on here at Batavia Downs.
Yeah, no doubt. This past week, the Stay Play Win one, it was out and then it dropped. And then people are just all over it. I shared that one a million times as well.
Mm-hmm.
As far as this race goes, though, we know it's at Saratoga. We know it's shorter. We know it's different. And there's 8 horses and there is more space out there in terms of, comparing it to a Derby where there's 1,000 horses. Give me just I'll give you the floor. I mean, you mentioned the big dogs there. Who do you like in this race? Any kind of underlining storylines that maybe people are missing? I'll just give you the floor to preview it all.
Sure. A lot of people are talking about Baeza and talking about how, as the third choice favorite, and also eligible in the Derby, he really ran a great race, and just barely lost to journalism by a neck in the Derby. But you mentioned this too, he also overcame, he had a great trip in the Santa Anita Derby. It came up short to journalism as well. So he's raced against this horse twice. Some would say the journalism had a tougher trip in both the Santa Anita Derby and the Derby, and still came out on top of Baeza. So, to make money, Mike, on horse racing, you got to either bet the favorite as a key and put the right horses underneath, or you got to hope the favorites don't win. Mike, I don't think this is the type of race where one of these two favorites is not going to win this race. I feel like it's going to be Sovereignty or journalism. Let's not kid ourselves. But I think the way to make money is to figure out who you think is going to come in second, or if you think these two guys are the two top dogs, who's going to come in third and round out your try or maybe your super. So, I really I'm thinking that Sovereignty, with the layoff is actually going to be fresher and he's going to be able to do a lot better with the less traffic. He's a closer. The closers want those fast early fractions. And you've got a couple pace setters here in Rodriguez, who's coming back from that injury. Bob Baffert, Mike Smith. That's an unbelievable combination, Mike, as you well know. When it comes to horse racing, Wood Memorial, he's a great horse. Mike's won it 3 times, the Belmont Stakes. Again, shorter distance this time around. But it'll be interesting to see with less traffic. I don't think Sovereignty is going to have as much trouble maybe getting to the front and staying in the front because he has bested journalism before. Slight chance of rain out there, by the way, too. Maybe early morning thunderstorms, but I don't think that'll affect things. This thing doesn't go off till 7 o'clock at night. So I don't expect it to be a muddy track or even a slick track or anything like that. So I'm thinking that I'm going to be using the 2 and the 7 on top, 2 and 7 in second, and then trying to figure out who of these horses has a chance to maybe hit that board for third. Baez is great. I just can't see him being better than third in this race.
So most horse racing psychos, they love they love the Saratoga scene, and people, some people haven't been out west, they haven't been maybe to Lexington, they haven't been here, there, but a lot of people I talk to who have done all of it, like, Saratoga's the best. They love Saratoga. Now, you talk to somebody who lives in Saratoga, you don't even ask the question because they're going to say Saratoga no matter what. What I'm getting at is Saratoga is obviously special, and there's so many stakes races. The Jim Dandy, and you have the Travers, and you have the Alabama, and I mean, there's a million more, obviously. What does the Belmont? I understand it's different. I understand some people think it's a little cheapened because it's not as long and all that. I understand all the circumstances, but just the name, the logo, the third leg of the crown, all these different things. What do you think it means to have the Belmont at Saratoga? Does it change the year at all? Does it make it even better? Does it add anything different in terms of training, feeling for horse racing, the sport, fans, people like me and you? I mean, what's the impact of it is what my question is.
It's tough to be, impartial to this because, Mike, you and I are both, in the industry of sport and in the fandom of horse racing. I have only been to Saratoga in all my years. I've only been there once. I went with my dad. My dad has a house in Saratoga,
Right.
and if you ask my dad, he loves Saratoga for sure. But
don't ask him. We know the answer.
Yeah, don't ask him. We know the answer. I think it's a little bit of maybe upstate versus downstate. Everyone talks about, oh yeah, the city's so exciting, whatever else. Because the same thing is said about Saratoga. It's not just the track; it's the overall feeling in the town. Walking up and down the street, the main drag there, we've got all the shops and all of the restaurants and all the little houses you can rent and all that fun stuff that goes on. Which I tell you, I love it. I mean, I've been to Saratoga during the meet. My dad, he just sold one of his houses out there, and he's like, yeah, it's a little bit crazier with them in town, when because usually we don't get this kind of traffic until later July or whatever. So, but he was saying, the town's geared up, they're very excited about it. Mike, horse racing, as we know, has been in a tough spot, and it's nice to see that there are certain states, including New York, and other ones that are actually trying to buck the trend of, hey, let's close down this racetrack and turn it into a shopping mall or a shopping center or houses. Here they are putting money into Belmont. Here they are saying, you know what, we're going to knock down the bleachers at Pimlico. So
Right.
Kudos to the people in Maryland. They're going to try to do that to make it so that there's a real shine on the new crown jewel, the second leg there in the Preakness, with a brand new, facility with upgraded facilities, I should say, not a brand new facility. So it's great to see some states are saying to themselves, okay, we need to make these places exciting and fun. And no, it's not going to be like it was in the 60s and 70s and 80s when horse racing was made at its peak and in its heyday where everyone was going crazy. But there's still money to be made. There's still fun to be had. There's still events to be hosted. And there's still a lot of just good things to come from having an upgraded racing facility. And I think bringing the Belmont Stakes to Saratoga for these last 2 years has, again, shown people kind of a window into the past of horse racing and the fun that horse racing has had, and the pomp and the circumstance and the all the traditions and those things, which I think are very, very good things. It's a big part of Americana in our history. I'm listening to the radio this morning at WGR here in Buffalo, and there's an ad that's been running for the last couple of weeks to promote the Erie Canal's 200th year. And of course, the other day after I heard it, I went on a deep dive, reading about the Erie Canal. And you just the long ranging effects that all these different things have had on New York State and the city of Buffalo, as it was crazy to think that back then when the Erie Canal was being built, Mike, there was racetracks everywhere. They reference it in a lot of movies, period pieces like the Newsies, where there was horse tracks. Just they weren't like Belmont or even as nice as Batavia Downs is. They were just kind of dirt rings somewhere with a couple of grandstands and a couple of barns, and people would race horses for money. And that was a really prevalent part of the early American life. And it's great to see that we're still having these traditions and still having these horses and these beautiful now facilities where you can host events and you can dress up and just kind of be transported back in time. So I'm hoping that it reminds people that there's still fun to be had, and horse racing is still a fun thing to do, even with all the conveniences of instant gratification on your phone or with sports betting and these other things. I think it's good to shine a light on these places that are really still doing it right.
That's a good answer. It's funny if you tell a diehard sports fan today, where they're obviously really centered in on the NFL and maybe a couple other things. Hey, about 100 years ago, 110 years ago, whatever, 100, I guess it'd be maybe 85 to 110 years ago, whatever window, 1915-ish to 1935. Hey, it was baseball, boxing, and horse racing, baby. I mean, those were the three things that catapulted things into the next and the next. And obviously things evolved to where we are now. But people, they look at you with three heads if you told them that's what the American sports life was built around, those three deals. In closing, holy cow, man, concert series. You guys are heavy into that. Father's Day, awesome event for the dads out there to come out as well. just highlight maybe the next week and change. And I know BataviaDownsGaming.com is that great interactive website. Every piece of information is right there.
Yeah, if you go to our website, you can see it. You check our socials as well. This weekend, in conjunction with the Belmont, we've got the Bourbon and Whiskey Fest. You can come on out for the Bourbon and Whiskey Fest. $35 get you 25 back in free play. Get you a whiskey glass that we're going to give you. You get sampling for 2.5 hours. $5 wager on the Belmont Stakes. Watch it on the big screens downstairs inside of the Park Place room. Going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be bringing this giant bourbon balloon thing for you to get your picture in front of. I'll be dressed to the nines like I usually am for photos. Yeah. And WGR is going to join us for some live broadcasts on that day. And then following that, we got a back-to-back event weekend. On Saturday is the Lucky Loop. That is a fundraiser for Roswell Park, as well as a national cemetery that's here in Pembroke and locally. And so it's going to be a great time. A lot of people, they do the 5Ks, right, Mike? But what we've seen a lot, and we're hopping on the bandwagon here, is something called the Lucky Loop, where you get people together and they race as many times as they can around a track within a 1 hour time frame. So a lot of high schools will do it. You don't have to involve the local police or get permits or close roads or inconvenience other people who are not going to the 5K. So it's actually kind of a nice thing, I guess, for the community sometimes when you don't inconvenience people with the driving. So what we're doing is we're just utilizing our track. It's a half mile around, however many laps you can do. We're doing relays. We're doing father-daughter, father-son teams, all kinds of fun stuff there. And it's all to raise money. Then Father's Day, we've got a brunch and we've got a dinner. So depending on when you want to bring dad out here, you can do brunch with him or you can do dinner with him with all kinds of great specials that are all listed on our website. And then that afternoon, we're bringing in our friends from Nickel City Wrestling. NCW is going to be doing their Father's Day Fallout event. So you can watch some professional wrestling downstairs inside of Batavia Downs, which is something a little bit different and fun. And that's really what's going on these next 2 weeks. It's just jam-packed over here at Batavia Downs.
No doubt about it. And you're one of the slogans over there is they don't want you to just come out there. They want you to love coming out there.
Yeah, we want you to like it. We want you to love it. 100%.
And the stay, play, win, eat package is amazing. Father's Day, bring dad out for that. Belmont Steaks, you can check the bourbon thing out. I can't wait to see the Get Up, of course. It's all happening at Batavia Downs Gaming. Ryan Hasenauer, you're the best. VP of Business Development for Batavia Downs Gaming and Western OTB. Go follow Ryan. Go follow Batavia Downs on all the socials. I'm sharing stuff like crazy as well, inviting all the friends out there to get to the page, follow it. It goes right in your funnel. You can't miss anything. And it's all happening at one of the best places on earth, honestly, is Batavia Downs Gaming. My visit coming soon. I checked my calendar. I'm going to text you in the next day or two. I got a couple of days penciled in. I'm going to come out and see you. So thanks for coming on. Yeah, thanks for coming on. I want to grab a burger at 34 Rush, man. That's my
absolutely, man. Great food over here. Let me tell you.
I know. Well, hey, Ryan, thanks so much. Enjoy all the races this week, my man.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for the time, Mike.